Joe Vaclavik and Mark Gold rejoining us. Mark, we had that derecho come through northern Missouri. We had Iowa, Illinois, Indiana. Then it turned south. I mean, there's a lot of damage out there when you look at these fields, a lot of question marks about how much of this corn will pop back up. Mark, talking with Ken Ferry out of Illinois, he says it's actually impacting the earlier planted corn more because that is the corn that was tasseling, and it's going to be hard for that crop to recover. Lated planted corn should fare a little bit better in this. But what will the trade be watching and trying to assess as we head into next week, considering those areas also got rains?
Well, the rains where you didn't get the winds is certainly going to help the crop. And I'm not going to go against Ken Ferry. He's the smartest agronomist I know. And I agree that the early planted corn that was tasseling early is going to be hit by these derechos out here. Before we had these rains this week, we were looking at a corn yield, maybe 174, 175, somewhere in that range. I think you got to bump it up a little bit because a lot of areas did get some rains without the derechos, but we don't know the derecho damage. We'll have to see what the crop progress says on Monday, but I'm not sure it's going to show all the damage by any stretch of the imagination. And the bottom line is the corn yield, in my opinion, can't get anywhere near 180, 1.5. I think it'll be tough for the beans to get anywhere near 52. So, we've had rains. We're going to get more rains here this weekend. But is it a little bit too much, too late? We'll have to see. The crops are resilient. We know that.
Yeah. So coming in next week, Joe, as you look at, the reports that we have, and then also weighing the rains and the wind damage, what will the trade be watching? And really, what do you think could move the markets as now we head into next week?
You should be back to weather after we take a day or two to digest this report. You should be back to weather. There's rain in the forecast, and the weather forecasts, models, meteorologists, they're looking for this shift toward a wetter pattern during the month of July. And if that's the case, corn crop, generally speaking, made in the month of July, there's still some bushels that could probably be tacked on versus current perceptions. Soybeans, you've got some more time, but I think the weather is still going to be the big deal here for another 2 or 3 weeks. Do we catch these rains not only this coming weekend and into the first couple of days of July, but do you catch the rains mid-July, late July, and into August to help the soybean crop?
Mark, so for now, do you think the trade is not worried about how poor demand does look right now on the books for both corn and soybeans?
We look at all the crush facilities that are being built, the ethanol plants out here. I still think over the next year or two, we're going to see big demand out here. And at lower prices, we're going to get more demand. I'm not that concerned about the demand side of the equation. We're just going to have a lot of corn we're going to have to go through, but low prices cure low prices, and we'll rally it. The bigger problem is how high can these beans go? And I'm not sure. We made a new contract high in July beans here today. Now we're a little bit under that right now, but this is powerful in the beans. We had that sale to China this morning. If they're coming back into the market, that's all positive. I wouldn't want to be short anything down here.
Joe, do you think that USDA will have to make some adjustments to yield coming up in this next WASDE report in a couple weeks?
They don't have to. Not if the rains fall over the next 4, 5, 6 days. They may kick the can down the road. There are people out there. I don't have an opinion on yield on June 30th. There are people out there who still believe a trend is possible. Maybe that's not a popular opinion. I just don't know which side of the coin USDA is going to sit on. Do they have enough evidence, given the drought, given the conditions, to lower yield? If they did, I think that's probably warranted. I mean, pull up the drought monitor. Even though we've got some rains, it's probably warranted to reduce your expectations a little bit. That's not to say that they couldn't come back and be higher later, I guess, if a really good weather scenario unfolds in July and into August.
All right, Mark Gold, Joe Vaclavik, thank you both so much for joining us this week on this crazy reaction to the markets, as well as just the reports that we saw on Friday. Thank you both. All right, we need to take a quick break, and then we'll have much more right here on US Farm Report.